Welcome to 49ers Coast to Coast. We're your hosts, Cohn and Jason Aponte. It's been a few weeks. Good to see you, Jason. How you doing?
Great to see you, Grant.
Great to
Glad
see you.
to see you back. Everything, know you've been going through some stuff, but happy to be back, and I'm happy that you're doing much better.
Two things before we get started. One, I saw you put out on Twitter, should I keep the curls or go short? What'd you decide?
Well, I haven't decided yet, but the overwhelming response was keep, and it was basically for a lot of people who said that they don't have that sort of flexibility. But it's more about this whole "I look like John B" thing. And right now, it's weird because I changed my hair to this, and so did John B. And I don't understand. He's like biting my style word for word, bar for bar, and it's like, okay, do I go back to the old John B haircut to get away from this, right? Like, so it was just something I floated out there.
There's only so much you can do. If you look like a guy, you got to embrace it. You know, there are worse looks out there. It's a pretty good look.
I mean, it's just I feel like white guys who have beards and stuff, they're automatically John B. So I don't really know if I necessarily look like him. As more as it's just like, I mean, it's just like a prototype style, like stereotype a little bit. But yeah, it's been getting a little bit of legs, as it goes on. And especially because I was on with Brian Peacock and Crocker on Locked On. Brian Peacock had no idea who John B was when it was brought up. And everybody was like, what? Like, hold on, man. Like, you should know who he is, right? Like, he's not a superstar, but everybody knows who he is. Come on.
Come on. All right. The second thing is with the combine. Jason's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And when does that start?
It starts on Tuesday. So I'll be there Tuesday on the 1st, and I'm leaving Monday on the 7th. So, yeah, super excited to get down there and, rub elbows with the GM, see what I can ear hustle and listen to from other people, just like kind of how I did in Mobile. But super excited, man. It's something that I never thought would have been possible.
Ear hustle. I like the concept. If you have any questions about the combine, prospects, whatever, drop it in the chat. Jason will answer your questions. All right. This is the John Lynch episode. Very interesting report that he is one of the final candidates to take Troy Aikman's job as the number one color commentator alongside Joe Buck or whoever is doing it next year. Seems like a pretty prestigious position. The other candidates reportedly are Sean McVay, Sean Payton, Drew Brees. Buy or sell this report?
Right now, it's hard for me to buy anything because so many things are coming out from different places and different sources, and it's really hard to, I'm sure everybody was up in arms with what Adam Schefter said, which was less of a report and more just a feeling it felt like that he had.
Opinion. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. With this, it's hard to figure out the validity of it and hard to figure out. This is peak off season right now. Like February 24th, shout out to you, TJW. February 24th, it's peak off season right now at this point, based on the day-to-day conversation about whether Trey Lance is ready, as if there's a game this week somehow. There isn't. And what's going to happen with John Lynch, it's more about people are starving for clicks. People are starving for attention. And I think that what the national media has found is that to shake the hornet's nest of the 49ers fan base on Twitter or anywhere else leads to guaranteed clicks, guaranteed content, especially when you're talking about front office and if you're talking about the quarterback. It's like those guys are starting for content as well too. ESPN each day has had a different analyst come on and reiterate the same thing that those guys have been saying.
February's hard, man. Freaking ratings are down for everyone. It's not easy.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So, Trey Lance so Ryan Clark comes on, Trey Lance isn't ready. Booger McFarland comes on, Trey Lance isn't ready. Like these guys are just right now parroting things because they know that it riles people up and it's going to draw people to them. So when people come to us and say, well, you guys are like starving for content. No, it's everybody. It's pretty much everybody at this point. Yeah. And it's your favorite analyst.
Viewer. So are you, viewer.
Yeah, right. That's why you're here.
I kind of buy this report. I mean, because he was asked at his post end of season press conference straight up, have you been offered a job as an announcer? And he was like, well, from time to time, opportunities are presented. That's pretty much saying, yeah, I got an offer on the table, but, I want to be here for now. I mean, we'll see what happens with money and stuff. But it seemed like he was saying, yeah, I could. But it doesn't necessarily mean he would get the job. He's a finalist. He's the top choice or that he wants to go. But I guess I buy this. I mean, he was the number 2 guy at Fox behind Troy Aikman. Why wouldn't they be interested in him? It seems like he'd have to be a candidate if they're looking for people because he's good.
So it would be John Lynch and Joe Buck?
Guess. Or it's possible that Joe Buck could go with Aikman to ESPN. I don't know. And they would get a new play-by-play guy. Not sure.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there's always I feel like every offseason there's something like that where they ask Lynch about broadcasting and things like that. It's just there's too many ties to Fox, right? Like, so when Colin Cowherd says something, he's on Fox. When somebody says something, when it's a report, whether it's Jay Glazer, kind of feels like that's where he's feeding some of that stuff, whether it is to say, hey, Garoppolo's not getting the looks that we're hoping for in the trade to either boost the trade value, whatever it is, whatever mind game that is they're playing, or everything's fine in the office. So, I understand that portion of it. It's just hard for me to buy into anything right now, just when people are grasping at straws in terms of finding ways to create content.
Good point. Take it with a grain of salt, but let's talk about it for the next 45 minutes. All right. Jimmy,
I love that.
Jimmy says, Grant, I'm 2 weeks behind on your videos. Man, you better hurry up. You better hurry up. Train don't stop. Ivan says, can't remember what AZ player said. Trey ain't no Kyler Murray, but I would like to tell him, hope he's right, because I want a quarterback that can win playoff games or be healthy after week 10. How about that?
Ooh.
Who was
Ivan.
it?
Ivan whipping.
It wasn't Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones? I think it was Chandler Jones.
Okay. Well, yeah, he's a lot bigger than Kyler Murray. Why would he leave when he thinks he can win a Super Bowl? Fair.
He better put the pads on.
Trey season ahead of us. Can't wait, says J-Rod. All right, but let's talk about John Lynch for a little bit more. If this report is true, let's just assume it. Let's just, for the fun of February, assume the report is true. What would that say about John Lynch, his standing in the organization, his outlook as a professional?
Kind of just dodging the sword or the guillotine. Because if this season had gone anywhere near left or right or anything like that, it would have been him as the fall guy and not Kyle.
Pretty obvious, right?
Kyle would have got blamed, and people would have, I guess, been right to say whatever they want about Kyle. Yeah, right. But John would have been the first one out the door. So is he tired of this whole, like, when everything goes right, Kyle gets the credit. When everything goes wrong, it's in on me. So I think that John Lynch is looking for the right way to walk away if he can. And if he wins a Super Bowl while he's there, also that's cool. That's fine. But
sunset that way. Yeah,
seems like he's trying to find a way to get up out of here because he can't keep on with the whole. When they win, it's Kyle. When they lose, it's you. And that's just how it is. And I don't really think that's too fair, in my opinion.
I don't know if he knew it was going to be like that when he signed up for it, but that's what it is. And when he was the number 2 guy at Fox doing, the subprime games, maybe this was a step up. But it seems like, just looking at the other candidates, the fact that Sean McVay would even consider leaving the Rams after winning a Super Bowl at 36 to take this job must mean it's paying way more than your typical head coach.
15 M's, right? I think they said it was 15 million.
Oh, well, that explains. Yeah, I was thinking at least 10. So, okay, 15 million, that's ridiculous. And in a way, it almost seems like these coaches feel that that's the most prestigious position in football. The guy who talks about the big game that week, like Madden. You can get into the Hall of Fame that way too. That's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, and I mean,
he's in the Hall of Fame though,
right? Yes, yeah. $15 million, and you get to analyze the game, and you don't get picked apart after the game's over. I mean, sounds good to me too. I mean, McVay at this point doesn't really have much to prove either. He's already won a Super Bowl.
True.
So,
do you know if Lynch's family is up here or are they down in San Diego? Did he move them all up to San? I don't know.
That
would be another reason to. So anyway, it seems like Lynch knows that he's always going to be the fall guy. And now that he's a Hall of Famer, like, why does he have to be in that? Must be stressful. Right. Must be stressful. Because Kyle wasn't tripping before the season started. He was drinking with Joe Staley, doing trick shots in Santa Barbara or wherever, San Diego. I think probably John Lynch was sweating it up until they freaking beat the Rams in week 10
right.
and they could win on that run.
Picture being John Lynch, right? This is just from the outside looking in, and these are the narratives created because we don't necessarily know what goes into any of this draft process, right? The guys who hit, Adam Peters picked him. The guys that miss, man, John Lynch wanted that guy
every time,
right? And when the team is playing well, Kyle's got those boys rolling. When they're losing, man, I don't know if Lynch built this roster correctly, even though we know certain things about how much personnel control Kyle has. So picture being John Lynch and always being in that position where you have to dodge the sword, look for the dagger in your back at times. And when it was 3-5, he probably was sweating, right? Like in his office, because something had to happen, right? Obviously, there was a lot of expectations going into the season. 3-5, coming off that Colt McCoy loss. we all were kind of freaking out a little bit. Now imagine how he feels, especially considering all of those things, because in 2019 it was kind of like found money when they made the Super Bowl, right? Like, yeah, you have thoughts of making the Super Bowl. Don't think that they envision themselves being that dominant, right? In that run. But then 2020 happens, you have the built-in excuse of, COVID, injuries, all that stuff. 2021 was supposed to be run it right back. And then it gets off to that start. And again, John Lynch is the one who probably feels the heat more than Kyle Shanahan does, because we know Kyle's not above criticism, but Kyle's not going anywhere either, unless something egregious happens.
And what's more prestigious, being like the face guy of the 49ers when everyone knows that's all you are and getting no real credit for what's going on here, or being the voice of the NFL, which is essentially what Aikman is, what Madden was when he was at Fox. I mean, it's and a big raise.
And there's no pressure. There's no pressure. You go to makeup, you go in the booth, and you start talking football. I mean, the same that you would do in your house while you're watching the game, and there's no pressure to that.
I know what I would choose. Look, as someone who bullshits for a living about football, it's way better than having to actually pick players and have to, live and die by your decisions. Hell no, that you're never wrong. When you're entertaining, never.
Right. And when you give out opinions about players and they don't pan out, nobody is going to fire you for it. They just call you a bozo on Twitter, they'll just call you a bozo on Twitter, which is so easy to just be like, yeah, whatever, you got me, who cares, But yeah, there's a lot of pressure that comes with, especially the 49ers, right? Like, we're not talking about like let's just say, I'm not trying to demean any sort of franchise. Let's just say it's the New York Jets, right? There's no sort of winning history. Everything is always going to be a building process, and it's always going to be something where they're just like, hey, please help us move in the right direction. But when you take over the 49ers, it is expected that you have to push this team back to the glory, right? Like the quest for 6, right? Like, so that's a no-win situation right there, because if you don't get it done, they're going to blame you. And then if you do get it done, Kyle and everybody else and all the players are going to get all of the credit. So I think that John's just in a no-win spot. And for now, if he is toying with the idea of going back to media, it's because he's tired of this year in, year out, game to game, week to week, when things go wrong. I mean, look, the light tweet over Christmas Eve. Like, what other GM is going to be dealing with stuff like that, like at that point? Now, we don't know the real way it happened. I know he didn't do that in church. That's a lie. You know what I mean? But it's just strange how all of these things seem to come to him, right? They're at his doorstep. And that's the part that I think he's probably tired of.
Also, what if Lynch isn't particularly optimistic? Or maybe Lance wasn't his guy. Maybe he's like, I don't like the direction this organization is going. I'm out. I don't know, but there's lots of ways. In February, you can go crazy.
You can surmise things. You can surmise that, right? Like, he just wants to get out before something bad happens.
Maybe. James says Tony Romo makes 180 over 10 years. Is that true? Say that.
Oh, man. I don't know. 18 M's?
If Trey wasn't ready, he wouldn't even have dressed this season knowing Jimmy Garoppolo can get hurt at any moment. Trask couldn't beat out Gabbert and didn't dress. He's not ready. This Trey talk is nonsense.
Romo, it does get 10 for 180.
Oh,
wow.
Wow. That's
we're in the wrong business.
My goodness. Yeah, good move, Tony.
So Trey wasn't ready. He would have dressed this season knowing Jimmy did get hurt. Trask couldn't beat out Gabbert, and he didn't dress. He's not ready. This trade talk.
Good point. Man. If he wasn't ready, he wouldn't have been in a position to play at all.
Right, like Jordan Love was inactive every single game in year one. Right?
That's not ready.
Right.
To me,
that's not ready at all.
Everyone's like, well, Trey Lance, what he did against the Houston Texans, who cares? It's Houston. Look at what every other quarterback did against Houston. And then look where Trey matches in his second career start. I'm not saying it means he's going to be a great quarterback, but.
You know what's funny? The one thing that the Texans did well was defend the pass.
Yep.
It wasn't defend the run. Nope. Like they should have been able to run all day, but Trey threw the ball in that game. It's funny. Everybody's picking and choosing their narrative and picking and choosing whatever it is to perpetuate their narrative as opposed to just being down the middle. So it is what it is.
Jacob Mayhew says, just want to remind y'all that Grant still has a better beard than Jimmy. Glad to see Jason back on. I tried to show.
Shout out to you, Jacob.
Jason has a great beard. You either have to do it like that, or I feel you got to go with the stubble like me. Jimmy tries to I don't know. I don't like the way he does it. I wouldn't.
The 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, I do the 5 o'clock shadow, but you can't manicure you can't it has to look kind of natural. Like you didn't try to do it.
Like you're not doing anything. You just head out of it. Like, I don't care.
That's the way it's supposed to look, even though you definitely did manicure yourself. Like, I'm not going to talk about it. Jacob, are you okay? You said you were in the hospital earlier today. Are you all right?
Oh, no.
Let me know. Blink once if you're good. Carlos, if Jimmy G stays with SF as a starter,
Fire Lynch and Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to happen real quick. Do you think it's going to happen?
No,
Thanks.
No.
James says, do people respect a winning GM more than a broadcaster?
It depends on whether you want to be respected like that. Some people don't care about that. Let me get my bag and go home. I could care less whether you respect what I did as a GM if I'm getting paid a bunch of M's to just have a carefree job and go home to my family.
He's a Hall of Famer. He's got respect.
Yeah, I mean, it's again for you. It's about what you want to be respected as. If you care about things like that, like if John Lynch wants to do this, and this is like he wrote this down as a life goal, like I want to win a Super Bowl as a GM, then that's fine. But if he's just taking the job and he kind of fluidly got there, and now there's a chance to move away to a low pressure job for how much more money? Give me the money, give me my peace of mind, and let me go home to my family, man. That's how I feel.
Okay. If this report is true, what does it say about Jed York in the sense that he just gave John Lynch an extension? Just gave him an extension. And Lynch has this offer to go back to Fox, and Jed's like, all right, fine, no problem. We'll let you right out of your contract. Hey, good luck. That's surprising. What does that say about Jed and the way he sees Lynch?
I love the way you frame all these questions because it leads me to these good like tinfoil hat things. There's something about organized chaos is the best way I guess I can put it with the way the front office is. And look, Jed York is not as unpredictable as like Dan Snyder or other organizations in that way. But again, it goes back to John Lynch and not knowing after 3 and 5. Good job, Jacob. I'm glad you are. It goes back to John Lynch at 3 and 5 sitting there like, I'm going to get fired. Like Jed York isn't George Steinbrenner.
No.
But he's not like this even keel middle of the road guy. Like
he's fired hella people.
Right. Yes. And when things go wrong, especially like I don't want to bring up old wounds or anything like that, but the Thanksgiving game. Oh, we need to be better, and I promise that this won't happen. Or him leaving the game early, like there's a little bit of organized chaos is the best way I can put it when it comes to Jed York. So I don't know, man. I think there's more speaks to, again, John Lynch is like, man, I'm tired of this, man. I'm tired of not knowing when the bullet's going to come. I'm tired of knowing, like, I'm not knowing, like, when I'm going to be safe as a job. And again, I'm just speculating, right? Like, I obviously don't have any knowledge or anything like that, but you can see how someone could surmise this from looking outside in, right? When you look at the panicking of the fan base, when you look at sometimes these interviews that John Lynch is in, like, I don't know, man. Like it's and for a guy who's media trained, sometimes he doesn't say the right thing.
He makes that point all the time. Like he says stuff you're not supposed to freaking say all the time.
Right, and that's the funny part to me. So did he lose his media training or is he losing his cool? And
there you go. That's a great point.
It can't be one of. It can't be both.
Be the second one. He knows what he's doing. I mean, he's a pro. It's got to be the second one. Yeah.
I mean, he was a player. He had to stand up after he didn't make a play or his team lost, and you had to be able to say all the
media.
Right.
Yes.
So what happened? Where's the media training? Right? Yeah. Like, not everybody's a body language expert, but you can see when the man gets uncomfortable. Everybody can read just vibes. And that's I guess that falls in with body language. But yeah, like if you're on a date, date with a girl, right? And the girl is like pulling her hair and talking to you.
Going well.
Good. Things are going well. But if she's sitting there like this,
bad.
Yeah, right. So like, why is it so hard to understand that portion of it and then act like you don't understand other body language portions of it when it comes to John Lynch and his interviews? So that's the part that's a little bit weird to me, man.
My take is just that Jed York doesn't really value John Lynch's place in the organization anymore. I mean, it's nice to have a Hall of Famer be associated with you. I mean, clearly John Lynch is respected. He's considered for all these really important positions. This is a prestigious position, so it's nice to have him. Nice. That's it, though. Like, he's not essential. If he were to go, it'd be like, oh, dang, darn. Well, we'll still invite you over for dinner. I mean, it seems to me like they felt he was essential 5 years ago when Kyle Shanahan was, 37? And you can't just give the whole team to Kyle. I mean, he's so young. Now I think everyone kind of respects Kyle and everyone understands it's his team and no one really cares how much power he has. So what the hell does Lynch really, what's his essential role in the organization right now? It just seems like he's nice to be there, happy to have him.
And again, he seems like the face, the guy that you can put out there to answer the questions, even though at times he doesn't do that well. But again, every time one of the later round picks hits, it's, oh man, Adam Peters nailed that one. Well, how do you know John Lynch had nothing to do with that? Or when Solomon Thomas busted, that's all John Lynch because of Stanford. They traded for Brandon Ayuk. Oh, well, coach identified him. That's cool. He moved up and he got him. Where does he get the credit for these picks at this point? I bet you if this Kinlaw thing doesn't work out, I guarantee you I know who they're going to go ahead and blame for this one. They're not going to blame Kyle. So that's the weird part about it. Like, I feel for the guy. I really do. He's in a no-win situation, and nobody can ever put their finger on what exactly you do here, John Lynch.
Well, that leads me to my next topic. If this report is true, what does it say about the way the 49ers are doing business? Like, what does John Lynch do? If they could just let him walk out of his contract, does that mean that Adam Peters and Kyle Shanahan are picking the players anyway? I mean, what the hell does he do? What is the structure of this organization? I know you don't know, but doesn't it seem like this guy is a strange kind of like ancillary piece who's totally not necessary? What?
Realistically, it feels like John Lynch is there, so Kyle doesn't have to answer as many questions, and John can go ahead and handle the media. He's got friends in the media, so when he does an interview with a Jay Glazer is not gonna go in there punching at him, right? He's gonna give him softball
like
questions.
he will with Trent Baalke.
Right. Like what I was very surprised on was when John Lynch sat with Matt Mayoko. Mayoko didn't hold back, and that's the like Mayoko was hitting him, and that's when he started like rubbing his ear, So he has those connections with Fox Sports. So if they want reports out there one way or another, then Lynch can leak them to them and leak them to his buddies. And if he does need to do these softball interviews, go talk with Colin Cowherd, go talk with Jay Glazer, go talk with any of those guys on Fox. Then things are easy. But right now, it just feels like in the same way that Kyle Shanahan doesn't need an offensive coordinator, do you necessarily need John Lynch? And is it just a title at this point? Again, I have no idea what goes into the way that these guys make their picks and they build rosters. Who knows? John Lynch could have his fingerprints all over many of these picks, right? Kittle, Warner, all of those guys, right? He could have identified them, but a lot of people give that credit to Adam Peters. Who knows? When you bring in Arden Key and you bring in these guys, was that John Lynch? We don't know, though. That's the thing. They don't ever let you know, and there's never really any report of John Lynch coming out and saying, yeah, I wanted Arden Key. I made sure to get him.
And I feel like this is letting us know. Like this right here is giving us a clue as to what he does. And I think the answer is not much. It's more symbolic. It's more symbolic.
In the same way that, look, Mike McDaniel helped a bunch as an offensive coordinator. Look, it got him a head coaching job. But how much is he the offensive coordinator when Kyle's the play caller, right? Like, It's weird, man. It's again, all of these things, and you're leading me to it too, man. I'm just letting myself like go down the river with this stuff or whatever. But hey, this is all just things that I have been feeling myself anyway. It's not really an indictment in any way. It's just how they're doing their business, and it's all based on my speculation. That's the other thing. Yeah. I'm just speculating because none of us know what's going on in the process and who's the one identifying players.
Hey, man, if Adam Schefter can go on Dude's podcast and speculate all day, then we can too. It's February, baby. Why not?
Right, and when he gets it wrong, you're not going to call him a bozo. You're just going to call me a bozo. So who cares?
Exactly. He got wrong about Mac Jones, not us. All right, hold on. Last topic with Lynch. Let's rank the candidates. Like, who would you most like to get this job as someone who's going to watch football on Fox? The 4 candidates are Lynch, Sean Payton, Sean McVay, and Drew Brees. Let's go through each one, give the relative strengths and weaknesses of each one as an announcer, potentially. Not everyone has done it before, and see and rank them. Let's do it.
All right, Lynch is pretty good, actually. I really don't have a problem with him, and I think
he's very good.
Right, and he's really good with understanding defenses as a safety. So I like Lynch. I think that he's a prime candidate. He speaks well. It's easy. He gives you the game easily, and he doesn't really fumble on his words. I like Lynch.
He's really good. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sean Payton is an unknown. I would actually put him at the top, near the top, just because I'm interested to hear what he has to say, because I know what goes through his mind, and I've seen how his offenses have evolved from Drew Brees to Jameis Winston to what he tried to do this past year. So I would put Sean Payton up there just for the unknown, right?
He's really smart, and he's got a ton of experience as opposed to Sean McVay. He really might have a lot of interesting things to say. I have no idea what his voice would sound like, and he is a bit of a freaking weirdo with that past he had with the I don't know, weirdo. He's a bit of a scandalous figure.
And if Kevin James taught me anything from that movie, is that Sean Payton's actually really funny. So if he's really funny like that, to just put him in there, man. Like, put him on because we could use a little bit more humor that's not forced. Okay.
All right.
Sean McVay, again, is going to be unknown. I can listen to Sean McVay, though, talk football all day. And he's much more outspoken than Sean Payton is. Especially I implore anybody to look up on YouTube. There was an interview that happened with Sean McVay where the guy was rattling off situations from years ago, even when he wasn't a head coach. And then he'll say, like, 3rd and 11, 142 in the third quarter. What did you call it? He was like, man, we saw a 3-4 front. He was like, we ran this, and this. Boom. And, like, his mind is like a steel trap in that way. Yeah. Like, Sean McVay is incredible, man. So his knowledge would be really nice to hear as well, too. And then the fourth one was, I'm sorry,
Drew Brees.
He's the one I like the least. I got a chance he did the one playoff game, but he wasn't ready. I think he needs to sit for a year since he's a quarterback so he can get ready. If he wants to do
about him you didn't like? Because I didn't like him either.
He was just kind of fumbling around. He wasn't really offering anything that wasn't surface level, right? Things that weren't very obvious, and I didn't really feel like he was adding much to the broadcast. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that could just be first year jitters. Again, like he should probably just sit because all quarterbacks should sit no matter what profession they are in. Sit 1 year and then come back and play.
He's not ready.
He's not ready. He's just not ready. Drew Brees isn't ready. You saw the glimpses, but he's just not ready. So I don't know if they should hold on to Tony Dungy and Chris Sims a little bit more.
4 or 5 years he'll be ready, but not
yet. And if they're not, then they should be looking to upgrade just just based on that. But Brees is the one I like the least. The other two are going to be ahead of him just on unknowns. That's it, more than anything. But I'm way more interested in probably hearing what Sean McVay has to say than Peyton, even though I would put them both like in that same unknown category.
Okay, let's rank them. Starting from the bottom all the way to the top.
Yeah, Brees 4. I'm going to say Peyton 3.
I'm with you. Hold on. I'll go with you at the same. So we'll start at 4. Brees 4. I agree. I don't want to hear him. To me, he has nothing interesting to say. He's trying to kind of please everyone and be super bland and vanilla. I don't want to hear Drew Brees. They're only considering him because he's like from Texas.
Yeah. So I'm out on Brees. 3, I'm going to say Sean Payton just because I don't know. And he doesn't seem to crack as much with the way that he speaks. At least Sean McVay is a little bit more personable, I feel like I've gotten from the press conferences. So maybe that would make for better TV. So I'll put Payton third.
I'm going to put McVay third. And the reason I'm going to put him there is because I know he tries to sound like John Gruden very much. He's a little bit of a motor mouth. He talks a lot. And I wonder if he's good on a podcast. He's good answering questions, but I wonder if like John Lynch is much more conversational than Sean McVay. Sean McVay just might power. I don't know. He's a bit of an unknown too. I'm going to put him at 3. Just me. All right, number 2.
And I might be, and you know what? It might work in that fashion because he has to get reined in. He's not doing play-by-play. He'll be color commentator. So there's play-by-play, and they'll ask him to dip in, and you got to get out. Like, we got to get
He might be better at play-by-play. Like, all right, 3-4 front. We got to.
Yeah, no. I'm like, all right, dude. Like, come on. Calm down, man. After the play, break it down. Don't do that. Like, that's the thing that some people don't like about Romo. It doesn't bother me about Romo. I like that portion of it where he can diagnose. But yeah, don't start doing all of that because there's a lot of people who aren't interested in those things when they're watching football, right? And that's the thing that you need to be able to give both sides. And I hate the word casual, but there are casual fans who don't care about X's and O's. They really just want to drink and watch and see who scores more points, and they have a surface level idea of what's going on. And there's the hardcore nuts. So you got to be able to be in the middle.
I mean, John Madden was a super technical,
right? He started the telestrator.
Oh, yeah. Let me say another reason I'm putting McVay third. It's the main reason I didn't like Gruden. Always felt when Gruden was in the booth that he was being super nice to everyone because he knew he was going to come back in the league. This guy, such a good player. That coach, this organization, everything was top flight. I was like, dude, you don't really feel that way at all, especially after we read your emails. Guess not, John. So I felt there was an air of inauthenticity. Whereas with Madden, when he was talking, you knew he wasn't going to coach again. He wasn't exactly being critical of people, but it didn't seem like he was trying to be political and diplomatic.
That man did not say one bad word about Brett Favre his entire career that he was out there, man.
You got to be at least 30 years old to know that, though. That's true.
Oh, yeah, you do. Yeah, that's for the older heads for you to know that one. Yeah.
All right, number 2.
Number 2, I've got McVay there, but we've discussed both of them. So I think we both have Lynch at 1. I just think that Lynch has a track record. Lynch was actually really good when he was in the booth, and I actually enjoy listening to him speak when he's not being asked do or die questions about the 49ers.
I agree. The only reason I put Peyton at 2, I don't know if he might be terrible, by the way. This is all, I don't know. I just think the idea of a retired Sean Payton who doesn't give a fuck just saying exactly what he thinks of every team, that to me has potential. Just saying, like if he could actually be critical during a game, like, well, I'm not going to coach again. I mean, that would be really cool. But I don't know if he would do that.
What kind of scares me about Peyton too is what if he's more Bill Parcells in terms of like when he's talking, right? Like, and that's not necessarily something I necessarily want to hear in terms of being entertainment, right? Because he's from the Bill Parcells school, so he could be like, would you want to hear Bill Belichick call football? No,
No, could be
no.
way too dry. Way too dry.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Just so do
Yeah.
we know that Sean Payton would be like that? That's the thing that
What
kind
we're
of
both saying is that John Lynch take this job. The Niners give you their blessing. Take that, get that bag, do your thing. You're perfect for it, buddy. You're perfect for this job. I think you're going to enjoy it. I think the Niners will be just fine without you. Best
promote Adam Peters.
Go Adam Peters. M. Niner says, Trey Jimmy can't stand watching his butt fumble like play and all the hospital balls he throws is ugly. M. Niner, you're the first person that's had this epiphany, but I'm glad that you had it because now we're going to relay it to the team and make sure they do the right thing. So I love how Niner fans just be like, "Oh, Jimmy!" Like, man,
still in February.
Most teams are run by one person, coach, GM, owner.
There's one guy that has more influence, but it feels like some of it is a team thing, you know, in terms of like who's got input and things like that. That's why you see guys get promoted out of those situations. I think that we just don't know the dynamic, so it's hard for us to speculate on it.
TJW says if Lynch leaves, then Trey was 100% Kyle's guy. Agreed. Jimmy leaving and Lynch going behind wouldn't surprise me. He's so pro Jimmy. This would tell a lot. Every time they've had a press conference since the trade, whenever Lynch talks, I just want to say how professional Jimmy Garoppolo. He has been above reproach. It's like, okay, all right, man, that's enough. That's enough.
We got it, bro. We got it.
Yeah, he's so professional. Dark horse candidate for Fox, Antonio Brown. Yeah, if they had any
balls.
Yeah. Chardall is like Kyle. Grant is like Lynch.
Wow. Chardall, yeah. Chardall's the man.
He's the man. My theory is that if SF is waiting, SF is waiting until the trade deadline next season to wait for some team to get desperate.
I want to puke.
Oh my God.
God. No disrespect, but please, God, no, don't let this happen, please. If
John Lynch had his way. John Lynch is everybody like, hold your horses, everybody.
We could really get him at the trade deadline.
Right.
Please, if you're up there, Superman, don't let that happen, please.
Praying to Superman. I like that. Romo makes you feel smarter. Breeze makes you sleep.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Breeze seemed nervous. It's like, get out of here.
Yeah.
But, all right. Enough John Lynch. That was 32 minutes of John Lynch. Nice. Okay. If you had the over on 30, you win.
Mm-hmm.
The Niners don't have a first-round pick this year, but that's cool. They have a second-round pick. Important pick. What do you think? What would you say are some realistic expectations for what the Niners will do with that pick?
Two positions, and they're both on the defensive side of the ball. I've got Arnold Ebukadi, who is the edge from Penn State. Strong, bendy, athletic, fast, explosive. He's plug and play. He can be what the 49ers wanted D Ford to be the entire time. I love Ebukadi, number 17 from Penn State. If you guys ever get a chance to watch him, he was dominant in Mobile. Played against some very good linemen, and he was whipping guys' asses all week. He fits perfectly, feels like plug and play. At 61, the 49ers got a hit at 61, and this player has to impact immediately. Can't be another red shirt. This 61 pick has to be somebody who will
Can't be Aaron Banks.
Right. Or it can't be Trey Sermon. Like it's gotta be impact because we don't know how many of these guys are coming back. That's one. The other guy that I have my eye on because I sadly believe that Jaquiski Tartt is not coming back this year. And I'm definitely afraid about starting Hufanga and having him cover all game, right? Like as opposed to in certain situations. Jalen Petrie from Baylor. The kid was in Mobile, again, silky smooth, up at the line, silky smooth in coverage. I believe his stats are like 18 games. He had 15 and a half tackles for loss, five turnovers, I think like 3 sacks. The guy was everywhere. So he's that versatile type that can cover, and he has that ball-hucking presence that you guys want so badly. And I think that he's another plug-and-play guy just because I'm not all the way sold on Hufanga starting right away. That would scare the hell out of me in terms of coverage unless he takes some leap in training camp. But Petrie feels like another one who is a straight up like plug and play guy. So those are the two guys I have my eyes on. Who knows if they'll be around a 61 because I feel like Ebukadi kind of pushed his stock up in Mobile. But one of those two guys will be, and I suspect that the 49ers are going to have to take one of those two impact players to get them rolling because they've got to hit the ground running right away and have to have players who are plug and play at this point.
That's great, but they're going to draft a running back. Jason.
Or they're gonna take a defensive tackle. I mean, just such is life, man.
They're gonna trade up for another running back and then decide in August that he's trash.
You should have not let see John Lynch making moves with Denver, right? Letting Denver jump ahead of him in the draft so they can draft Javonte Williams. And it's like, hey, wink, wink. When we want to send Jimmy back, I see it all. I see.
Is that what happened?
I see exactly what you're doing, John Lynch.
John, see, to me, I would actually like to go offense here because I think the defense has been better than the offense for 3 straight, or maybe more than 3 straight years. But drafting another offensive lineman, like, good luck. Is he going to be from Notre Dame too? Are you going to do that?
Well,
I don't trust this team's ability to do that.
They're going to have to, though. I mean, look, realistically, we can look at this team right now and say that we know for a fact that there's only going to be one starter back from this entire offensive line this year, and that's Trent Williams. There could be 4 new people starting next year. So the 49ers are going to have to do something like that, but not at 61. I believe there are plenty of guys. There's like Matt Willetsko from Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Why'd you put that in my mind? North Dakota.
Damn,
North Dakota.
You scared me, man. All right,
North Dakota. North Dakota kind of looks like McGlinchey, very tall, right? Good in the running game, right? Pushes people down. Calm down. I'm telling you what they like, and that's what he looks like. Him
all right.
I
can take McGlinchey in the 3rd round. I can't take McGlinchey at pick 10. That's fine.
That's the thing. Well, Lesko's not going to go that high. He really did much better as the week went on, but he's not going to be at the 9th pick. That's another way that you set your expectations to that. And the other guy is Cole Strange, who was actually on the 4th and Goal podcast with Hobbyman. I implore you guys to watch that. He had 3 teams, I believe, that asked him to take snaps as center, one of which was San Francisco 49ers.
The 49ers! I got that one. I was going to say the 49ers. Yeah.
Hey, so Cole Strange is a guard from Chattanooga. He took some center snaps because they wanted to see, and he's very familiar with the zone scheme as well, too. So those are some guys later on in the draft that I see the 49ers going after or looking at just because of their profiles. Again, you wouldn't be mad at Mike McGlinchey if he was in the 3rd round. Like the same thing with Matt. Well, let's go 4th round, something like that. Yeah. But Cole Strange is another guy, too. So those are the 2 guys that, while I was watching linemen, they kind of stuck out to me as fits and guys that could be there.
Yeah, not to go off on a Mike McGlinchey tangent, but when they drafted him and explained the vision, it's like, he's our long-term right tackle. Like, no. Colton Miller, it was supposed to be the left tackle. He's actually good now. You got to go with the upside there, but I like that. Yeah, you can get a player like that in the 3rd round. That's cool. It's going to be a running back, though. End of story. Ken, don't you agree? Thank you very much. It's going to – any running backs in the 2nd round? Any running backs in the 2nd round the Niners should definitely avoid?
All of them. What the hell, man? Jesus. I mean, you look. Just sign Raheem Mostert back. Make Trey Sermon play and run with him and Elijah Mitchell and sign a veteran back like Justin Jackson and sign like somebody like Justin Jackson who knows Anthony Lynn, play with him in LA. Just fill out this room, right? Like, you don't let Wayne Gallman walk this time. Like, sign Justin Jackson and let him be that guy who's a veteran, right? Like, do it that way. Come on, stop drafting them.
Come on. Yeah. All right. But if they do draft a running back, that's definitely John Lynch. If it's a DB, I'm putting that on Adam Peters and you. That's how it goes. Sorry, John.
Well, if they get no, and here's how it works. If the pick is good, it's Adam Peters. If the pick busts, it's John Lynch. That's how it works.
So we'll have to wait a few years before we determine who picked that player.
Right.
When John goes to Fox, they're like, so what's your resume? Oh, all the bad players in the Niners? That's me, baby. That's what I did. All the bad ones.
Dante Pettis, baby. I pushed for that.
Yeah. Is he still in the league?
Still in the Giants, I believe, on their PS at least. Yeah.
Can't write him off.
You gotta get over. You gotta get over here and cover this team over here, this Giants team, man. That's where it's at.
That'd be so funny if I wound up in their locker room. Hey, Dante, how you doing?
He's gonna be like, get out. Get his ass out
right now. Shibnur says Niners drafted Sermon and Banks to be long-term bench warmers. Sign me to a long-term bench warmer. I guarantee I'll be better than them. John Lynch definitely picked those 2 guys. I'm certain of it. This is no question. Jesus. All right, everyone. That's our show. John, thanks for being a good sport. Everyone, thanks for your donations and watching. I'll be back tomorrow. Yeah. Have a good one, everyone. Peace. Thanks, Jason.